Hi friends, welcome to the class on P&S, that is probability and statistics. Today we are going to see that von Mises statistical definition of probability. This is created by von Mises, and in the last lectures or in the last classes we have discussed the classical definition of probability and the problems on that definition. Today we are going to see this, that we have in the definition part we are having the same manner of the ratio of the number of times m of the event E happens to the number of trials n, that is m by n is called the relative frequency of the event. Here we are having number of times, that going to be m here. In the last two for the classical definition we are having the number of favorable outcomes, that is going to be number of times here, and the event E happens to the number of trials n. If we think that tossing a coin we have assumed to get only heads, and in how many trials we got the required heads, that is going to be our von Mises statistical definition of probability. And next, this is called by relative frequency of the event, it is denoted by R of E. And next, for the this is our what is our frequency, that is relative frequency. If we have the probability of this event E, then probability of event E is the limit approached by RE, that is we have to take the limit of how many trials we have to do, as the number of trials n increases indefinitely. Thus if we have the limit for the R of E like this, limit R of E, this is going to be increases up to n to indefinitely, that is here the number of trials n increases indefinitely, that is here fills the number of n, it is going to be increases up to indefinitely. It is being assumed that is equal to 1, that is it being assumed a unique limit value exists, that is if we have the limit for the relative frequency of a event, then for the limit the value n going to be increased up to the infinity, then the value will be only unique. For this von Mises we are having the simple event and a sample space and mutual exclusive events and so on, as we have discussed in the classical definitions. Let us see what is a simple event. We are having that an event in a trial, that is the trial set can be tossing a coin, that cannot be further split is called simple event. Such as if we are tossing a coin we are going to get the heads and tails, we cannot divide the heads separate and tails separate in a event. If we are having a coin here, we cannot divide the heads and tails while tossing a coin, or we cannot have the split of these two events is called simple event. Moving on to the sample space, the set of all possible simple event in a trial is called sample space. That is here the possible simple events, the simple events can be accepted the outcomes of the trial. Here we are having, when we going to toss a coin or a double coin, we are going to get a one time heads tails, tails heads, and for the tails. Here we are having these many 4 outcomes for the simple event or a trial. These are called simple events. This simple event and the 4 are the simple events. These the set of, here we are going to place these all in a set called sample space. The set of all possible simple event in a trail is called sample space for the trail. Each element of the sample space, that is h comma h, h comma t, each element of this trail or a sample space is called sample point. Any subset of the sample space is an event, because here we are having, this is going to be one event, this is going to be another event, this is going to be another event, and this is going to be another event. So that the subset of any sample space is called event. It is denoted by E, and a sample space is denoted by S, capital S. And next, moving on to the mutual exclusive events. For the definition part, we are having the two events, that is E1 and E2 of a sample space. That going to be, here we are having a h comma h, one, h comma t is another events of a sample space, are said to be mutually exclusive if they have no sample points in common, because this is only one outcome wherein we get tossing a double coin. This is another one when we tossing another coin. This doesn't get the common in the both events of E1 and E2. That's going to be written in the mathematical, that is E1 intersection E2 is going to be null or disjoint events. Next, moving on to the complementary. We are having here the complementary is non-occurrence or not happening. That's going to be like this. It is denoted by E dash or e to the power of c or e hyphen. For the moving on to the definition part, we are having here the two events of the sample space. For the every definition, we are going to have two events. That going to be here two events of the sample space whose intersection, that is like this, the symbol of the intersection is like this, intersection is equal to null. That going to be like this. E1 intersection E2 is going to be null, and for the union here itself, the union going to be symbol here itself. The two events of the union is going to be sample space. This is very important, and this is also very important. While intersection of the two events, that is there should be no common points between the two events. And next, for the both of the union is going to be the sample space, that going to be included in the sample space. If we have the event the sample points in a event 1 and a E2 is going to be must include in sample space. Here we are having E dash E is equal to S. Here also that, and next E dash is equal to S minus E. That is the not happening of the event, that is E complement, is equal to sample space minus happening of the event, or events happened. That going to be the complementary event. And next, moving on to the probability axiomatic approach. Here we are having three axioms to define the probability axiomatic approach. For the definition part, we are having here, let S be a finite sample space, and a real valued function P, from the power set of S into R is called probability function on S. That is on this here we are having a power for this up to R limit, that is relative frequency. And if the following the three axioms are satisfied, then it is going to be our probability axiomatic approach. Here we are having a first axiom. It is the probability of event, it should be greater than or is equal to 0 for every subset of E of S. Next, probability of sample space is equal to 1. This is one, this is second one, and this is the third one is if E1 and E2 are the disjoint sets, that is there is no common points between the two events, that is E1 and E2. That is here E1 and E2 we are having none common points between this, and these are the subsets of S. That is the every event which is having in this event E1 and E2 is going to be included in the sample space, that is going to be S. And then here we are having the first one, in this third one, probability of E1 union E2 is going to be our value probability of E1 plus probability of E2. And next, then this can be called as probability of event. Next, moving on to the one more assumption, that if we are having only two here, if we have the more than events such as E1 and E2 and E3 so on up to the En, from E1 to En, these are all also disjoint sets of a sample space n S. And if I multiply for this probability with a union, that is like this, probability of E1 union E2 union so on up to union En, then what is the value? It is going to the same value, that is probability of E1 plus probability of E2 plus probability of E3 plus so on plus probability of En. The same value is going to be included for every disjoint events of a sample space, and it should be subset of the sample space. And next, up to here we completed our theory part of von Mises statistical definition. And let's see the addition theorem of probability. Here we are having addition. If we in the last class we have discussed that if we have or in between any events, that going to be addition. If we have any and between two events, it is going to be our multiplication symbol. In a similar way, take out these two methods to have this addition theorem. If we have the probability of E1 or E2, any one of these E1 and E2, we are going to include that in the place of R, probability of E1 union E2. If we have in between the two events or, we are going to include that union. It is going to be like this, union also. If we have the or in between the two events, it is going to be union for the two events. What is the formula for this? Probability of, when we have the union in between this, we are going to have the E1 plus probability of E2 and minus probability of E1 intersection E2. For this, what is the intersection between the E1 and E2 is going to be null. In the placing between, in the place of this, we are going to substitute the null, that is 0. Then we are going to have the formula. And next, moving on to the multiplication theorem. Before moving to the multiplication theorem, we are having that conditional event and conditional probability. Here, what is the conditional? The condition is that if we getting the heads or tails when we are having a tossing a coin. Here we are getting, let's think that the E2 will be heads and E1 will be tails. Here we are having, we assumed that to get the heads or tails. Later, if E1 and E2 are the events of a sample spaces, and if E2, that is head occurs after the occurrence of E1, that is, this is occurring, the head is occurring after the tails, that is like this. And then the event of occurrence of E2, that is E2 heads after the E1 is called conditional event. Here we are having E2 occurs after the E1, that is after the occurring of tails we are getting the heads. Then the event of occurrence of E2, that is when we are having E2 at the first, we are getting the after the E1. This is called a conditional probability. To get the heads in this trail, we must include the tails before the tossing a coin, so that this is our conditional probability. To get the heads, we are also getting the tails before getting the E1 or E2. This is our conditional probability. This is a conditional event. And when we moving on to the conditional probability, here we are having the same two events with a sample space S, and the probability of E1 of that is, for the probability of a first event should not equal to 0. Then the probability of E2 is going to be after the event of E1 occurred, the same situation as in the first one is called the conditional probability of E2, and given for E1, and it is denoted by, here it is E2 by E1 or E1 by E2. The similar way, here also we can define like this: probability of E2 by E1 or probability of E1 by E2. Here we are having the, what is the formula for this? Probability of E1 intersection E2 by probability of E1. What is in the denominator, it is going to get in the denominator, and the intersection between the two events, what we are going to include here itself. This is our conditional probability and conditional event. And moving on to the multiplication theorem, here we are having nothing but the same two events from the sample space. The E1 should not be equal to 0, and probability of E2, it should not be equal to 0. Here we are having that assumption, or the required is P1, the probability of E1, it should not be equal to 0. The probability of E2, it should not also be equal to 0. It should not equal to 0. Then we are having that probability of E1 intersection E2 is going to be our probability of E1 into probability of E2 by E1. Here we are having a E2 by E1 here itself, according to a conditional probability, probability of E2 by E1. In this place of these, we are going to substitute this one, the probability of E1 intersection E2 by probability of E1. That is, in a similar way, when we are having probability of E2 intersection E1 is equal to probability of E2 into probability of E1 by E2. Here what we are having, it should be in the denominator. Here what we are having, it should be in the denominator. Simple to remember this. Moving on to the dependent and independent events. What are the dependent? The dependent is nothing but, if we are having here two events, E1 and E2. Here we are having that if we are having nothing occurrence, there is no effect of E1 to get the E2, or there is no effect of getting the E2 E1. Here we are having the definition: if the occurrence of E2 is not affected by the E1, it is not affected by the E1 or a non-occurrence of E1, then the E2 is going to be independent of E1 because it is not depending on the E1. E2 is not depending on the event E1, so that this is independent event. And this can be written in like this: probability of E2 by E1 we are having in the conditional probability, that's going to be like this: probability of E2, because here we are having nothing occurrence of E1, so that directly we are going to have that E1 directly, that E2 we directly, probability of E2. And next, what is the dependent? Here we are depending, after getting the E1 it should be get the E2. After getting the heads or tails, we are going to get the tail. Here we are having in the first condition, in the conditional event, here we are having here, after getting the tails we are getting the heads, so that this is going to be an independent event of E1. E2 is independent event of E1. Thus that is our dependent and independent. And that's all for today, and tomorrow we are going to see the problems. Up to today we have completed all the types of